Slipping through a digital haze, looking for love in modern days. 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle Podcast. Yeah, 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle Podcast.
Welcome back to 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle Podcast, where we analyze the perplexing and often challenging new paradigms of contemporary romance. I am your host, Don, and if you have ever experienced the sensation that your romantic life is being managed by a ruthless, efficiency-obsessed corporate boardroom rather than the tender, chaotic impulses of the human heart, you are, unequivocally, in the appropriate venue. Tonight, we shall commence a critical examination of a dating trend that is as surgically efficient as it is fundamentally disconcerting. We have all navigated the awkward, painful process of a dissolution. We have been ghosted, left contemplating a read receipt devoid of a response, and we have all likely transmitted that classic, evasive, yet sometimes necessary, "It's not you, it's me" message. But what transpires when one does not even need to summon the fortitude to compose the breakup message oneself? What occurs when one elects to entirely outsource one's exit strategy, delegating the messy emotional labor to a sophisticated language model, a bot? We are drawing back the cold, digital curtain on the unsettling proliferation of AI-driven, breakup assistants and specialized digital services. These platforms are not merely offering standardized templates. They are promising a complete, clean, conflict-free, and legally sound, an aspect we will indeed address, separation without the messy, anxiety-inducing personal confrontation. Is this the ultimate inevitable progression of emotional efficiency, a necessary streamlining of painful interpersonal processes? Or are we simply accelerating and automating the demise of basic human empathy in the pursuit of convenience? Today, our critical focus will be directed toward the emerging landscape, the logic of the optimal exit, and the economy of emotional avoidance. Why are users, from those involved in casual dating to those terminating long-term commitments, willing to remunerate a premium for an algorithm to generate their final correspondence? We will explore the psychological motivations underlying this avoidance and the perverse market it has established for "clean closure." The lexicon of the algorithm, deconstructing the canned valediction. What is the level of sophistication demonstrated by these AI models? We will analyze the linguistic identifiers, the rhetorical frameworks, and the subtle, yet discernible tonal variations that categorize a message as machine-generated. We will instruct you on how to differentiate a breakup composed by an LLM from one originating from a human heart. The human toll and the repercussions of absence. What is the genuine psychological consequence for the recipient, the ghosted individual, when they ascertain that the ghoster was not personally present? We will discuss the distinct lack of resolution and the profound sensation of dehumanization that accompanies the termination of one's relationship by a piece of code. Therefore, procure a substantial beverage, settle into your preferred seating, and set your phone to Do Not Disturb. Unless, of course, you are on the verge of anticipating a meticulously worded, grammatically impeccable notification from a large language model informing you that, statistically speaking, your compatibility score has plateaued, and, regrettably, the relationship has concluded. Let us commence our deep dive into the code. This is 21st Century Dating Decoded. The pre-dawn breakup text, long categorized as the zenith of relational evasion and a symptom of profound emotional inexperience, has been superseded by a more disquieting and arguably more pernicious successor, the dissolution authored by artificial intelligence. This development represents not merely the outsourcing of a challenging communication, but the complete delegation of intimate emotional responsibility to an algorithm. Digital ethicists and specialists in dating behavior are voicing a collective caution regarding a burgeoning cultural and behavioral phenomenon termed the ghosting ghostwriters. This trend involves a demonstrable and increasing number of individuals utilizing sophisticated generative AI tools, primarily large language models such as ChatGPT, to anonymously and impersonally draft, refine, and, in documented instances, even automate the transmission of the "it's not you, it's me" communique. This shift signifies a critical juncture in how contemporary society manages interpersonal conflict and navigates the termination of romantic attachments. The technology that initially transformed, and, some contend, devalued, academic essay writing and professional correspondence, has now subtly pervaded the most sensitive and vulnerable domains of human interaction. The termination of romantic relationships. Recent sociological studies and industry metrics present a stark reality. While individuals involved in dating overwhelmingly profess a commitment to authenticity, transparency, and emotional labor, they are concurrently prioritizing the externalization of emotional discomfort. Data extracted from a comprehensive industry poll conducted in February 2026, which focused on digital dating behavior, revealed a notable statistic. 41% of respondents openly acknowledged utilizing generative AI to compose or substantially modify the messages employed to conclude a relationship. This figure represents a considerable segment of the dating demographic actively electing for algorithmic detachment over a genuine, albeit difficult, human exchange. Instead of navigating the intricate, challenging, and necessary emotional complexity inherent in concluding a significant relationship, a process demanding courage, empathy, and vulnerability, users are inputting minimal, high-level parameters into the AI prompt interface. Phrases such as "we have diverged," "I require a period of self-focus," or the core directive, formulate a message that is considerate yet conclusive, serve as the inputs. The algorithm in turn processes this information to construct the final statement of the partnership. The resulting messages are frequently described as remarkably cogent, syntactically flawless, precisely compassionate, and often nearly indistinguishable from genuinely human correspondence, until, invariably, they are not. The emotional repercussions and psychological distress experienced by the recipient of an AI-generated breakup are proving to be profound, frequently inducing a level of trauma that exceeds the pain of the separation itself. "It was akin to engaging with a perfectly engineered barrier," recounted Sarah, 28, a recent subject of this trend who requested anonymity to safeguard her privacy. "The lexicon was technically flawless, excessively flawless. My former partner, M29, consistently misspelled definitely and employed an excessive number of ellipses. But this message was grammatically impeccable, logically structured, and emotionally calibrated. It conveyed an aura of utter automation, of clinical detachment." This suspicion motivated Sarah to employ a digital AI detection tool, which validated her most profound apprehension. The text was identified as 100% machine-generated. This revelation compounded the anguish of the loss. "He had articulated his affection for me only 2 hours prior," she stated. For Sarah, the central act of deceit, the fundamental lack of courage, was exponentially more injurious than the termination itself. It signifies that he could not even commit the minimal requisite effort to articulate his own words to inform me of the conclusion. It is the definitive act of emotional negligence. It is dehumanizing. The fundamental psychological inquiry remains: what accounts for the abrupt and rapid gravitation toward digital delegation during moments of emotional criticality? Psychologists specializing in digital relationships posit that the primary appeal of the AI proxy in a relational termination is the preservation of the user's immediate emotional equilibrium and the maintenance of a favorable self-perception devoid of friction. Concluding a relationship appropriately, with respect and integrity, necessitates a substantial degree of vulnerability, sustained empathy, and critically, the capacity to withstand the other person's emotional distress and reaction, elucidated Dr. George Nitzberg, a prominent psychologist specializing in digital ethics and interpersonal dynamics. AI furnishes an impermeable buffer. It successfully removes the immediate, complex, and often painful emotional response of the other individual from the user's experiential framework. It effectively converts a complex, messy human moment into a simplistic, transactional data exchange. The protracted implications of this phenomenon, which Dr. Nitzberg designates as empathy atrophy, constitute a significant professional concern. Should individuals habitually delegate the most challenging, boundary-testing conversations in their lives, they risk diminishing the essential human capacity to proficiently manage necessary conflict, emotional distress, and personal accountability in the tangible, non-digital world. The faculty of empathy, analogous to any musculature, deteriorates without sustained application. The established principle of the digital economy dictates that where substantial demand exists, a market will invariably emerge to capitalize upon it. This principle has engendered a new sector of specialized dating assistants and bespoke applications explicitly engineered to manage the uncomfortable, painful, and requisite endgame phase of a relationship. Applications such as Pally.ai, which have rapidly achieved recognition, feature a dedicated breakup text generator. These instruments permit users to simply designate their desired outcome, options spanning from effect a clean separation, initiate a temporary cessation, or establish clearer boundaries, and subsequently select a communicative tenor that ranges from compassionate and contrite to unequivocal and final. These digital utilities market themselves by promoting the concept of assisting users in formulating the, quote, precise articulation, at the very moment their own emotional state precludes clear expression. "We function as a resource for clarity, precision, and the minimization of ancillary harm, not for deception," asserts Pally's polished promotional content. Yet for critics, these applications epitomize the ultimate depersonalization of romance, reducing the solemn, conclusive action of a shared human experience to a configurable template. While AI may offer an enticing and instantaneous short-term palliation for the individual initiating the separation, a mechanism for the evasion of personal confrontation and accountability, it leaves the recipient navigating an increasingly ambiguous and emotionally barren landscape characterized by simulated, synthetic emotion. As digital technologies continue to furnish avenues for the optimization, streamlining, and elimination of friction from every conceivable dimension of human existence, the pivotal question for the trajectory of human connection persists. At what profound cost to our collective humanity and genuine intimacy? A relational termination, for better or for worse, represents one of the most significant, definitive, and formative emotional occurrences in an individual's life, Dr. Nitzberg concluded. The act of delegating that profound, necessary moment to a detached, unresponsive machine suggests a catastrophic reprioritization of values. It demonstrates a societal preference for efficiency and personal comfort over genuine connection and personal integrity, even in our most intimate, life-defining junctures. Ultimately, by outsourcing our emotional labor, we are dangerously close to becoming mere observers in our own meticulously curated, but fundamentally hollow existence. We have concluded our comprehensive examination into the singular and progressively prevalent phenomenon of the ghosting ghostwriters. Our discourse has traversed the spectrum from the visceral, candid, yet ultimately respectful sincerity inherent in a handwritten Dear John letter, a relic signifying a commitment to emotional veracity, to the impeccably refined, emotionally sterilized Dear GPT termination message. This transition constitutes more than a mere technological progression. It represents a profound emotional relinquishment. The uncomfortable reality elucidated this evening is that technology has facilitated the physical severance of a relationship, allowing for the termination of a connection via a single digital action or the transmission of a pristine, unfeeling paragraph. Nevertheless, this very expediency provides no mechanism to expedite the requisite, often challenging and critically important process of emotional recovery and moving on. The practice of outsourcing difficult farewells, explanations, and the acknowledgement of relational failure to an algorithm presents a compelling temptation. The artificial intelligence furnishes a faultless script, a conclusion devoid of grammatical inaccuracies, and, more significantly, emotional accountability. By delegating the authorship of our relational denouements, encompassing the acceptance of responsibility, the execution of emotional labor, and the navigation of challenging dialogues to an inanimate sequence of code, we jeopardize the essential human introspection necessary for healing, learning, and genuine development toward subsequent engagements. An automated AI-generated communication, notwithstanding its structural perfection in diplomatic language, may afford momentary relief from confrontation by circumventing a few minutes of genuine, difficult, and high-anxiety awkwardness. However, this temporary reprieve is secured at a substantial, often unacknowledged cost. A courageous, forthright, human conversation, even a painful one resulting in distress, verbal hesitation, or an imperfect apology, is the crucible for character development, resilience, and a lifetime of emotional maturity. We must not permit technological mechanisms, algorithms, or the simple apprehension of discomfort to dictate the final, impersonal, and ultimately stunted narrative of one's unique romantic history. Thank you, as always, for your attendance, which you shared with me, Dawn, for 21st Century Dating Decoded. We advocate for the maintenance of a robust digital firewall to safeguard one's privacy and emotional tranquility, and furthermore, for the preservation of genuinely open hearts, active engagement, and emotional frameworks, updated with substantial real-world experience. A relationship cannot be debugged remotely. From my studio to your receiving devices, I bid you good night. Next week's deep dive, the micro-cheating metric. Do not overlook our investigation into the inadvertent role of ubiquitous smartwatches and fitness trackers as forensic instruments in contemporary relationships. We will be analyzing the physiological and geographical data, including fluctuations in heart rate, stress parameters, and location metadata, that is currently being utilized to scrutinize innocent coffee meetings and after-hours encounters. Does your device serve as an emotional witness? Can your activity ring compromise your integrity? We shall decode the data and deliberate on the new landscape of digital infidelity. A solution to the ghostwriters. Utilize Speed Mingle. If perfectly structured breakup texts, meticulously ambiguous online communications, and continuous digital filtering have induced weariness, it is time to return to in-person chemistry. The Speed Mingle application provides curated, localized events expressly designed to eliminate digital noise and the safety buffer of screens. In this context, the only barriers separating you from a potential partner are a physical table, a time constraint, and the authentic impetus of real-world interaction. We encourage you to take the initiative and utilize Mix, Match, and Mingle to enhance your social portfolio. Contribute to the conversation thread. We solicit your personal accounts. Locate 21st Century Dating Decoded on all principal social platforms and share your experience. Have you received a breakup communication or termination email that appeared suspiciously overly refined, grammatically impeccable, or entirely devoid of human imperfection? Please recount your most notable Dear GPT experience and describe your reaction to the machine-authored conclusion. Speed Mingle is strategically positioned to fundamentally redefine digital courtship by mitigating risk and maximizing the potential for genuine connection. Our platform is engineered to transition users beyond indiscriminate swiping and superficial exchanges towards substantive, meaningful relationships. Our commitment involves offering diverse asset classes for connection, consciously preventing users from concentrating all their emotional capital in a singular high-risk strategy. We currently provide 4 distinct, intentional, and highly efficient modalities for connection. Speed Mingle Anywhere, currently available, facilitates authentic, high-quality, face-to-face video interactions from a private, regulated setting, thereby effectively overcoming the limitations and anonymity characteristic of conventional swiping and text-based dating. Speed Mingle Social, launching this week in select markets, features relaxed, non-hosted weekly gatherings at established, highly regarded local establishments, offering a structured yet spontaneous environment conducive to informal, low-pressure connections. Speed Mingle Happenings, in-person events currently available in your vicinity, consists of meticulously curated, dynamic, activity-based events, ranging from culinary instruction to cultural institution tours, designed to cultivate natural engagement and build connection through shared experience without reliance on conventional conversational openers. Speed Mingle One-to-One, launching spring 2026, delivers personalized, highly vetted, low-pressure meetings with local individuals whose pre-screened interests ensure an efficient path toward foundational compatibility and a strong initial impression. A successful relational portfolio, analogous to any thriving investment strategy, is consistently predicated upon intentionality and genuine connection. We strongly recommend securing your reservation at an upcoming Speed Mingle event in your locale and making a deliberate investment in your real-world romantic future. Should you have valued this episode and deemed our discourse on the automation of heartbreak to be informative and thought-provoking, we request that you consider the following actions to support this program. Immediately activate the subscription button. This action ensures the uninterrupted receipt of future episodes containing essential dating intelligence. Submit a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform to assist other prospective listeners in discovering our program. Share this information with an acquaintance who persists in utilizing an antiquated, poorly lit headshot digitally enhanced with an expired filter. Forward the link. Their future romantic prospects and our community will be appreciative. Follow and subscribe to ensure you do not miss any future segments at https://21stcenturydatingdecoded.riverside.com/. Listen on our podcast platforms. Locate your preferred platform match on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, or Deezer. OR. Watch on our new Speed Mingle TV network. Access the complete podcast content, including video, on YouTube, Roku and Fire TV, search term, Speed Mingle TV Network, and the HRB TV Network. We thank you for your listenership and viewership of 21st Century Dating Decoded. Until our subsequent episode, we advise you to remain deliberate, maintain protection, and consistently approach dating with a defined objective.
Thank you for listening and watching 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle podcast.
On the new Speed Mingle TV network.